So let's give it. Thank you, Alicia. Good evening, fellow Rotarian, and it's really great to have you tonight. And thanks to our visitors. So today we do have Eddie visiting our club, a potential new member. I also would like to introduce David Chapman, our new member. Welcome, David.
No, thank you.
So really good to have you with us. And so I hope you guys are all safe and sound now after the hurricane on the West Coast. We know it was a bit of challenge. We have one new member joining. Okay.
Oh,
Hey, it's Will.
it's Mr. Will.
Hello, Will. Good to see you. All right. So tonight, Alicia, can I share my screen, please? You can.
One moment.
So that would be awesome. Okay, now I can share. Thank you. Awesome. So tonight we have a pretty busy agenda. So first of all, I would like to welcome our guest speaker, so Margie Kersey. So Margie is self-employed with her husband, Ron Kersey, as financial and estate planners. So what I'm gonna do, I will allow Alicia, would you be the one introducing Margie?
I think Vince probably
Vince?
would be the prime person.
Okay, so then perfect. So I think from 7 to 7:30, so Margie will be our guest speaker. We'll allow a bit of time for the question and answers. And then from 7:30 to 8, we really want an observation of Veteran Days. So today we would like to have our PDG Will Miller, Commander of the U.S. Navy, retired, will give us some insight. And Dr. Michael Leban is also supposed to join us. Hopefully, he should be with us soon. So, in honor of Veteran Days, we will have the merit to have both of them giving us some insight. So, without further ado, Vince, it's all yours to introduce our guest speaker.
Oh, thank you, Malone. I appreciate it. So it's my pleasure to introduce Margie Kersey as our guest speaker this evening. Margie has been a longtime Rotarian and a longtime friend. Her full bio is in our club bulletin, so please read that. I'm not going to read the whole thing word for word, but I just wanted to give you an overview of the depth of her experience in Rotary and Rotary Leadership Institute. She's a member of the Satellite Club of Stone Mountain, Georgia, and she is a major donor. She served as district governor in 2011-12, and then actually went back to serve as a president after she was district governor, which I find to be extraordinary that people actually step up and do that in 2016 and 17. She has been a mainstay at Peach Pets, which is the equivalent of our Florida Pets, as curriculum chair and discussion leader, training leader, whatever title I'm leaving out, I'm sure is covered in her dossier in the bulletin. She is also very experienced as a discussion leader in RLI, and she has served our division, the Sunshine Division, in many positions, including faculty chair and curriculum chair. And she was the chair of the division preceding my term in 2019 to 21. Margie is the current curriculum chair, which is one of her many functions that she has with RLI Sunshine Division, which covers most of Florida, all the districts except one, Florida and the Caribbean. And if that's not enough, Marjorie is a doctoral candidate in curriculum and adult education at Valdosta State University. And when curriculum changes are made, she has a team that she puts together consisting of Rotarians and non-Rotarians who have experience in writing curriculum. So we really get the cream of the crop. She currently serves as the newsletter chair and the curriculum chair for the Rotary Leadership International Board of Directors. She's one of two members of our division that are on the RLI International Board. Past District Governor Tim Shula from our district is the other member. I asked Margie to talk about our online program in our division, which took off during COVID. And some people say it wouldn't have happened if we didn't go through the pandemic. Others say, yes, it would have happened. I'm in that camp that believes it would have happened. Margie was in discussions with many people, including myself, years before the pandemic about this. And at the international level as well. The pandemic pushed it over the finish line. And it was done in rapid time, lightning speed, warp something if you're a Star Trek fan. And I wanted her to talk about what it really means. What is the program? Why does it attract a certain type of individual? Some individuals want just the classroom, but it really fits in with some people's schedules. And I'll let her describe why, what her findings have been, and talk about the program and what makes it successful. So, Margie, it's your turn. Go ahead.
Thank you, Vince.
Okay.
One of the things that happens when you've been in Rotary for a long time is if you truly love Rotary, you end up getting involved in everything. There's every minute of your day can be taken up with some Rotary or Rotary affiliated project. I joined Rotary in 1998 and have been involved. And one of the lessons I learned is sometimes you have to say no to stuff, and you got to pick the things that are closest to your heart. RLI gets my time now. I spend a lot of time with RLI every day because it's near and dear to my heart, because it's making a difference for Rotarians literally around the world. There's over 400 districts, and I think there's only 534 total. Over 400 districts offer Rotary Leadership Institute. And RLI, thank you, is not a part of Rotary International. We're independent. But we are one of, I've been told, 2 organizations, I can't confirm that Rotary considers us a recommended affiliate, to the point where the Council of Legislation twice has commended Rotary Leadership Institute and affirmed Rotary's relationship with us, because all we do is help Rotarians become more powerful. I'm looking around, and for the most part, y'all look of an age. You remember that knowledge is power when you watch Schoolhouse Rock on Saturday mornings with the cartoons? That's what RLI is. It's, you go to RLI to find out how you can get the most out of Rotary. That's what it's all about. It started in 1992 by past RI director, David Lynette, and he started it because he realized the training that Rotary offered had these huge gaps in it. I mean, they trained their governors, they trained their president-elects, and then they had a learning center online. Nothing like it is today. Today's online learning center at Rotary is awesome. It's wonderful. But it's like reading a book. It lays there. You don't get to interact with anybody. You get the material and you get the facts and figures, but you don't get the living, breathing part of Rotary. And frankly, Rotary, I mean, look at the screen. This is Rotary, the faces that are around you. So David Lynette convinced some other folks, and they started Rotary Leadership Institute. Fast forward, It arrived in Florida and expanded to fill Zone 34, which Vince shared. That's Georgia, Florida, the Caribbean, Puerto Rico. And we're all but one district are in Sunshine Division. And an amazing thing happened. You see, there's an international curriculum that everybody follows. But you see down here in Zone 34, we got some smart people. And those smart people started looking at the curriculum saying, you know, we can do better. So Sunshine Division became the test market. We would up the curriculum and test it down here. And when it worked, it ended up rolled out at the international level. We've had a strong program, and the traditional program, there's a part 1, part 2, part 3, then there's some grad courses, but part 1, 2, and 3. And each one of them, you have to take them in sequence, and they're an all-day program. So you spend like all day Saturday in a classroom, normally in a room with about 20 other Rotarians going through the information. How many folks here have been to an on-site, an all-day RLI program? I know Vince has. Oh, Alicia, you did too. Cool. Miss Miller, thank you very much.
I have.
Yay. You're like looking to join the club. Are you a Rotarian moving over here?
Oh, yes, I'm a third generation Rotarian.
Excellent. Excellent. So see, the all-day program is wonderful. You get a lot of information, but it's an all-day program and not everybody can do it. So there were several of us that wanted to look at moving RLI online. For those of you who haven't been to RLI, it's discussion-based. So there's a lot of people. I mean, nobody stands up there and reads anything to you. It's discussion-based. You are a part of what is learned in that room. Everybody said you couldn't do that online. I was an advocate for doing it online for one reason. I used to work for Dale Carnegie Training. And if there's one program in the world that is discussion-based, it is Dale Carnegie Training. And they went online about 15 years ago. And my argument to RLI is, if Dale Carnegie can go online, oh, we can do it online. There were a lot of people who didn't agree with me, but that's okay. Then COVID arrived. And now, with COVID, it was no longer discussion. I'll tell you now, RLI International did not have a plan. So when COVID shut the world down, those 400 districts around the world, 399 of them shut down RLI. They didn't have a way to do it. I shouldn't say 399, right? So okay, I was an art major, so what is 400 minus, what is it, 13?
Yeah, districts, yeah.
So 387? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 13 districts stayed online because we pivoted. We were working at Sunshine Division to figure out how we could go online, how we could make it work. We pivoted and we started delivering RLI online. And it's very different in structure from the on-site program. In material and curriculum, it's identical. It doesn't matter if you go on-site or online. It's the exact same material delivered. I can't say exactly the same, but very, very similar. It's still discussion-based. The way online RLI works is we looked at part 1 of RLI, which on site is a grand total of 6 hours, but there's only 5 topics. So we broke it into 5 sections online and gave them clever names like 1.1 and 1.2. And so you knew you were getting a part 1. With part 2, we broke it into 6 parts. And with part 3, it also broke into 5 parts. But like I said, when you go on site, you have to take them in sequence. You cannot take part 3 until you've already taken part 1 and 2. We tossed that out the window for online. You can take it, we officially refer to it as willy-nilly. You can just take whatever you want. You can take them in any sequence you want. You can take just the pieces you want. For example, if you have to be the foundation chair for your club, I should say that different. If you get to be the foundation chair for your club and you're uncomfortable, you can go online and just take the foundation modules. Like 3.4 is all about foundation grants. You can just go ahead online and take that. You don't have to worry about all the rest of it. We learned a lot when we went online. Now, because we were the only online program, especially for the first year, we had attendees literally from all over the world. We had folks, of course, from Canada. We had folks from Nigeria. We had folks from the Philippines. We had folks, well, from all over the United States. We had a few from Mexico. Yeah, I don't even remember all of them. But we were the only game in town. So yeah, they joined us so that they could still get the training that they wanted. Because yeah, RLI had to pivot, but as you know, every Rotary club in the world had to pivot. They had to figure out how to make Rotary work in a new world, whether it was online or some of the other unique things clubs did. Now, the topics for RLI Online, I always have to cheat and get my list. All of the part 1 topics are grouped together under the heading of the Rotarian. So all the topics in part 1 are about the individual's experience with Rotary. So they talk about like Rotary opportunities, and that covers things like fellowships and RAGs and how to get in, Rotary action groups and how to get involved. It covers the basics of the foundation, just so everybody has a basic understanding of it. There's sections about the structure of Rotary, but it gives you a chance to see how a Rotarian fits into Rotary in the big picture. Part 2 is about the club experience, how Rotary works at the club level. So it's got modules about communication and fundraising and membership attraction, which apparently y'all are doing very good at. So there's even the huge section, and this is what sucked me into RLI. There's a section called Analyze Your Club. And when I took that class, there was another member in the class who was from my club. And he and I sat on opposite sides of the room, and it's this huge 10-page questionnaire, which sounds overwhelming. But all you do is you go through and answer all the questions. And sometimes you put, don't know. When we got a break, Kersey and I ran outside and compared our questionnaires. They were almost identical, which convinced me that the material we were looking at was truly balanced and was going to be truly useful to take back to my club. So part 2 is all about the club. Part 3 is about Rotary in the world. See, that's why the foundation grants are in part 3, and Rotary history is in part 3, which, by the way, is a whole bunch of fun. And there's some leadership strategies and even public image. So it kind of helps identify where Rotary fits and how Rotary works with the rest of the world. Now, the graduate courses aren't online yet, but y'all are the first ones to know we may have a graduate course online in January. Maybe. We're working on it. We've got to figure out how to make it work without making you sit in front of a computer screen for 6 to 7 hours. Anybody want to do that? Yeah, that's, oh, Fibber, you would not sit in front of a screen for 8 hours. So yeah, we've got to figure out how to break it up and make it work. We've learned a lot of lessons going online because some other districts or RLI divisions in the world tried to go online as well. And they did. They tried to make people sit in front of a screen for 8 hours. I know y'all super shocked that it didn't work. One division decided to have RLI every night for 2 hours for like 2 weeks. Yikes. There were a lot of different things. And it turns out our 1 hours, they work. People have lunch with us. People fit it into their schedule. They can pop on, do an hour's worth of training, and move on. But the lessons we learned, we thought going into it that we would just exist for COVID. Personally, I had hoped that it would last longer, but we figured it would just exist for COVID. But what we found out is the same thing y'all have found out having an e-club. There are some people that are happier and better suited to meeting online. Those people definitely come to online RLI. Definitely. We also found out that there were some people that the Saturday classes on site didn't work. They had jobs, they had family, they had children's stuff. They couldn't spend an entire day doing this. They could fit an hour in on lunch break or something, but not a whole day. They joined us. The other thing we found out is we have members who have health issues and they can't be in a room. Maybe they can't travel. Maybe they just can't be around people, whatever reason. They've joined us online. Online, the discussion is still there. I've had some talks with some of our online discussion leaders and asked them to compare how it feels being online to being in a classroom. And most of the discussion leaders have said that online, it feels a lot more intimate. Remember at the beginning of COVID, there was all this talk about Zoom fatigue, that people were just getting exhausted. Psychiatrists found out that was a real thing. Because when you're on Zoom like this, you're looking right into people's faces the entire time. Well, the way our brains work, our brains are constantly analyzing that input and trying to see, oh, is he happy? Oh, was he... So we're constantly filing that information. And with all the faces in front of us, yeah, it was wearing our brains out. Now for RLI, that worked out super. Remember, it's only an hour, thank goodness. But it worked out super because it's intimate. You're looking right in people's faces and having honest discussions, as opposed to being in a room with 20 people where some of the people you only see the side of their face or the back of their head if they're looking away from you. This way you connect a little more if you're an online person. because we all know there's some people that'll never come online. It's not their thing, and that's okay. So we've learned lessons and it's worked for us, and I can tell you it's never going away. Right now with Sunshine Division, we're one of the last online programs standing. And we have districts. There's a district in Alabama and a district in Wisconsin that have joined Sunshine Division as online members, simply because it's working and it works for them. So I don't know what else I should tell you about it. I've already talked longer than I thought I would, and I'm definitely not going to take time away from our Vietnam veterans. Near and dear to my heart, gentlemen. So what answers might I have or can I chase down for you?
Okay, so Margie, say somebody online, you said you could go out of sequence if they take online. You also mentioned, okay, say Vince wants to get on, he's been through the foundation part, but he would like to go on again and take a refresher. Is that possible?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have people that the first time you go through it, whether it's on site or online, of course you pay. But after that, no, you can come in and you can take the class every month if you want to. I guess I should have said that. We offer each piece one time a month.
Okay.
So if you miss it this month, catch it next month.
Good to know. And are all the divisions, the trainings are the same, the classes are all the same, they're interchangeable?
Absolutely. If you do all of part 1 online, you've got the exact same information. In fact, you've got the exact same participant handbook that somebody that goes on site gets. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Thank you, Margie. I think these are great information. I'm a fan, of everything online. I have to be honest with you. And for me, it was really impressive, becoming a president. When Alicia told me, just go there and look, there is a bunch of training. And I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. And I would really encourage, every club member to just go and check and take the opportunity, because it's such a great opportunity to have a lot of good materials. So thank you for the hard work and
And
everything.
yeah, and just to throw it in, both Vince and Will are and myself, we're graduates, and Vince and Will are well, Vince, right now I think you're still active discussion leader. Will has been a discussion leader. So if anybody wants any information within the club, feel free to ask. And as Malona has to, you've taken a couple classes online, correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Margie?
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Andrew. I was a discussion leader in the good old days with Doug and Deb in 6990, and did a lot of classes in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, even up in getting up to Jensen Beach and whatever. So did a lot of ground, and then COVID hit and whatever, but I would love to get back and maybe do some stuff online. Can I reach out to you, or is there a method for that?
Absolutely. I've put my email in the chat box, and let me be fair up front. I've got 15 online discussion leaders. The very neat thing is they're all specialists.
Mm-hmm.
For example, 3.4, I told you, foundation grants. That's led by Carl Trelevin. That's the only class he leads. He leads it once a month for me. And out of the 15 discussion leaders, 12 of them have been with me since August 2020. It's a very low turnover job.
That's amazing.
But I'm always willing to talk because I always keep a list of candidates because you never know.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Is there any more question for Margie? No? All right. So then I would say, Margie, we would like thank you for joining us. Excuse me. So you are more than welcome to stay with us.
Thank you. I want to.
To hear more about our veterans. So I think now we do have Will Miller. So Will, it's all yours now. I think you are on mute, PDG Will.
We'll unmute.
Let me check if we can unmute him. No, maybe Alicia, you want to try if you can unmute him?
And I can ask. Unmute Will. You can't hear us. So what we can There we go.
Are you trying to talk to me?
We
Alicia,
yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can now.
Okay, all right. Oh, I'm having technical difficulties with Mike and I'm trying, he can't get his video to start. And it's telling him that his browser, he needs to go into his browser and activate his camera, which his browser is Google. So any of the experts here know the answer to that?
Yeah, that just means that he needs to allow Google the right to access his camera. That's a normal setting with Google Chrome.
Okay. Well, apparently Google Chrome is keeping him from doing that because he's been using WebEx, not Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and when it asks if he wants to authorize Chrome to use his camera, what does it say? Does he approve it?
Hey, Mike, did you hear that?
Yeah, I'm happy to approve anything, but I'm not getting any opportunity to sign in.
Oh.
Well, we can hear you. We can hear
you.
He's off mute. We can hear him.
Yeah.
Can't see him.
Yeah, turn your audio on, Mike, in the.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Well, only because I have my phone and you're talking up near my microphone.
That's right.
Oh, okay. What you can do is tell him to do Command Q. Is he on a Mac or a PC?
Which are you on, Mike?
On PC. Okay, so it's Control Q. That'll quit Chrome, and then have him open it and re-enter Zoom, and then it should show him the approval request for him to open his camera again, and then he can click Allow, and then we should be able to see his camera.
So I'm hitting Control Q. Nothing's happening.
It's not quitting Chrome?
No.
Piece.
Can you install the executable version of Zoom?
We don't have to see him.
No, we'll just listen to you, Mike.
Yeah,
How about that?
Should be good.
Just If
Oh yeah,
Michael, if you could he can get off mute, that would be great.
Mike, can you unmute yourself?
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, is that
They can't hear me, right?
Well, only through my phone right now. It says connecting to audio.
Yeah, it's going to have a permissions problem with that
audio
too.
by computer. God, I hate to waste everybody's time.
Yeah. Well, can you hear him the way I've got this set up to my microphone?
Yes, we actually can.
So
yeah, actually they can hear you. So this will work. Oh, it says connected to audio.
Oh, here we are. He's on. Now you just need to unmute, Michael.
Yeah, he should be unmuted now.
Not yet.
Okay.
It's coming.
Mike.
There we
There
go.
you go.
Mike,
Good job.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, you can hear him now?
So,
Can you
Michael?
hear me now?
No,
Yeah.
they can
Yeah,
only
we can
hear
hear
you
you.
through
Yeah,
my
no,
phone.
No.
You think you can hear him?
Can you try again, Michael?
Yeah, isn't there a TV commercial? Hear me now?
No.
You
Hmm.
don't hear him. No.
No. So maybe we should just
All right.
The phone, that's fine.
All right. You can, Mike, you can talk. And I'm gonna hold my phone up to my mic and they'll be able to hear you.
Okay,
Now it's working on
Can you mute? Okay, perfect. Thank
There
you.
you go.
Oh, Will is muted as well.
Yeah.
So
Well, unmute yourself and go ahead.
Will, I think you need to unmute yourself now.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's-
Try that.
try what?
Try talk. It's all yours, Mike.
Yeah. I'm sorry to waste everybody's time.
No,
No, we can hear him. That's fine.
Okay.
Well, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and Mike?
Okay. Let me introduce Mike here. Mike and I have been shipmates and good friends for many, many years. We both retired as Navy commanders. He is a lawyer and entrepreneur by trade, and right now he is an immigration lawyer. And the only thing that stands in the way between families and the government deporting some whole families. So he's had a very successful career, and we were both in combat in Vietnam. So, without further ado, Dr. and Commander Mike Liban.
All right. Thanks for the introduction, Will. I've said this before that Will and I and John Paul Jones were considered the three amigos back in the day. All right, I joined. I'll be brief. I joined the Navy in 1968 at the height of the Vietnam War. Went to OCS where I was commissioned. I was a 16-week wonder. But I'd point out that in 1968, getting into OCS, Navy OCS, was very competitive. So the OCs, the candidates that I trained with were really the pick of the litter. After my commission, I went to the USS Boxer, which was LPH-4. It was a World War II Essex-class aircraft carrier. I was the signals officer, and we decommissioned the ship. Interestingly, it was the last United States Navy vessel that had a wooden flight deck. And when we decommissioned the ship, the officers were given pieces of the wooden flight deck, and I had it as a souvenir, kept it for years, until one day I said, "The hell am I keeping this for?" So off it went. From there, I went to the USS Charleston, which was basically a cargo ship. We carried Marine artillery units and a ton of ammunition. I was the gunnery officer, and we were quite a shooting ship. My armament consisted of 4 twin mount 3-inch 50 cannons, which were also World War II vintage. They put out a hell of a lot of rounds, 90 rounds per minute. One of the highlights of my time on Charleston was we participated in 2 sink exits, meaning we lined up and sank decommissioned United States Navy vessels. And I'll tell you a little bit about the second one, which was the highlight of, or one of the highlights of my 24 years in the service. We were supposed to meet a number of ships off the Virginia Capes. A tugboat came out and was towing a decommissioned destroyer. It turned out we were the only ship participating, and the consequence was the sun was setting, and the tugboat had to leave the area and leave the decommissioned destroyer afloat. Well, so the captain told me, he said, we're just going to make one pass at the destroyer, but we damn well better sink it. So we moved to about 1,000 yards on the port side, and we opened fire with my 3-inch 50 pop guns, spitting out 90 rounds a minute times 2. And you can see the tracer round. Will is smiling. He understands this. These were armor piercing, and the tracer round was going out from the barrel. We were in point blank range. We were beating the hell out of this destroyer, and the noise, the smoke, the cordite smell, and watching the rounds hit the destroyer as the sun was setting is vivid in my mind. As I said, we were a shooting ship, and we used to run the shore bombardment range in Calibra. So the Calibra was a island with a circular bay, and there was about 1,000-foot mountain that came down to the beach. And we'd come on the range, and we would identify ourselves to the range coordinator. And I'll never forget, the coordinator's call sign was Big Mary 26 Charlie, a name that will live in infamy. One day, and we always did very well on this range. One day we were firing on the range, and we asked permission to fire, and the guns were going off, my cannons were going off, and we didn't hit the mountain. That's very embarrassing. The captain called me down. We ceased fire. The captain called me down to the bridge and reminded me that I was a lieutenant junior grade and he was a Navy captain, and what the hell was going on. Well, we had a computer glitch, and from 1,000 yards off the beach in front of a mountain 1,000 feet high, we missed the whole damn mountain. We then, sometime later, we anchored into the tiny little port of Calibra, and it turned out that the range officer, Big Mary 26 Charlie, requested to come aboard the Charleston. We had a ship store, and he needed razor blades or whatever. I was the boat officer, and so we took the launch into the pier, and here I had built up in my mind Big Mary 26 Charlie. I saw Lou Ferrigno, the Hulk, and this Navy lieutenant who was the spitting image of Pee Wee Herman got on the launch. The launch was 500 yards from, the pier was 500 yards to the ship. And Big Mary 26 Charlie vomited all the way to the ship. This was the yellow brick road, the Wizard of Oz all over again. So much for Big Mary 26 Charlie. What I did do on the Charleston, however, was sail around the world. We brought the Navy Seabees to Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean, and they created a 10,000-foot runway, which launched B-52s during Desert Storm. During that cruise, I became a golden shellback, not just a regular shellback, because we crossed the equator at the zero meridian. We also became, because we circumnavigated the globe, I'm a member of the Order of Magellan. And I'm here to advise everybody that the Earth is in fact round. And during our voyage, we didn't fall off at any point. Will and I served at Sinclair. Sinclair, C-I-N-C, Lant is the four-star admiral, the senior admiral in the Atlantic. And for several years, I was part of the emergency action team. I was one of only 6 reserve officers in the entire United States Navy qualified to serve on the emergency action team. What is the emergency action team? This is the intermediary between the President of the United States and all nuclear forces, submarines, the missiles, and the B-52s. The watch I stood at Sinclair as a reserve officer was 2 12 hours, 1 weekend a month. So we'd stand watch on the weekend, and for each watch, it was long hours of boredom, broken only by moments of sheer panic.
Mike, you were basically one of 2 officers with the keys, if required, to start World War III. Is that right?
That's exactly right. What would happen is we would have a drill, and there'd be somebody in the White House playing the President of the United States. There'd be the Deputy Director of Operations in the Pentagon, and it was a very secure net with all the nuclear commands. of which Sinkland was one. And there would be scenarios of actions against the United States forces somewhere in the world. And the president, after being advised by the deputy director of operations, would decide what the United States nuclear reaction would be. And there were loads of options.
Yeah.
From
Mike? Yeah, we've got about 9 minutes here. And if you want to wrap up there.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry. I didn't know exactly. Will asked me for some sea stories that were clean and not R-rated. So that kind of limited what I can talk about tonight. But let me say this. After 24 years in the Navy, the Navy is one of the most unique organizations that I can think of. And within the Navy, a United States naval vessel is the most unique entity that exists. It's designed to go to war. You're part of a ship's company that live together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. At night, you don't park and get good night's sleep. 24/7. You meet and see and relate to people that you never see or would never meet or relate to in any civilian counterpart. You can be a hotshot assistant manager in Walmart, and you're not going to see your employees in the rain, freezing to death at 3 o'clock in the morning. You do that regularly in the Navy. The can-do spirit to get the job done, to protect a variety of things. The reputation of your ship, the safety of your shipmates, and most of all, the United States of America, the country that we've taken a solemn oath to protect as members of the armed forces.
All right.
I am proud to say that I did that for 24 years, and I don't have a minute's regret. I appreciate your time, and I'm sorry I couldn't figure out this damn video.
Okay.
Thank you for your service.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah.
Amazing. Good
Well,
job.
Mike, we appreciate that. And in the 6 minutes remaining here, I'm going to try to blast through what I've got, which basically is how I became a vet and what it means. So in 1967, with the Vietnam War ongoing, I talked to my mother, and she said, "Don't worry about the draft. I play canasta with the head of the draft board in Hampton, Virginia, Mary Beauvais, and Mary would not draft my son." My uncle, who was a Navy captain, said, "I wouldn't depend on that. I think you better enlist." And so I enlisted in an officer program at age 23. Since I had a degree in education, the Navy made the best use of me by sending me to damage control school to be a Navy fire, flooding, and battle damage expert, ignoring my education training. I went aboard a Navy destroyer, similar to the kind that Mike sunk, and I was the guy in charge of keeping that thing afloat. And basically, its first cruise went to Vietnam. So, among other things, I did some work inside one of the 5-inch 38 guns. And after a year in Vietnam on the destroyer shooting at things ashore, the Navy saw fit to send me to Vietnam in country to be shot at, to kind of balance it out, you know. And so I got a postcard, said your next assignment is MSCU. I didn't know what that was. CRB, I had no idea, but I knew sure as hell that RVN was Republic of Vietnam, and I was going in country. Sealift Command ran both military and civilian cargo ships and tankers of all kinds, taking all of the war supplies into Vietnam. In addition to that, I was told that Cam Ranh Bay was like a resort, which was good for 6 months until they decided to blow it up with about a 5-hour rocket attack. Additionally, I used to have to drive past a Vietnam-controlled, North Vietnam-controlled mountain called Monkey Mountain, where they would shoot at me. And I finally told my CO I needed a faster vehicle. So they gave me a turbocharged Mazda. And of course, being in country, Vietnam, like Mike on his ship in Vietnam waters, we were both exposed to Agent Orange. I ended up with a very aggressive prostate cancer, for which I have some level of disability. After active duty, I joined the reserve, where I had a number of recalls back to active duty for a total of 26 years, both active and reserve duty. I worked with amphibious ships. I also worked in a lot of command center work. I spent some time underground at Cheyenne Mountain out in Colorado Springs. I worked World War III programs on kind of the other side of what Mike was working on. I worked the survival and response side. I spent time at undisclosed locations, and I also worked a lot of what they call black programs, what are top secret, special compartmented information and special access programs where I basically had to sign my life away, never to mention what these programs were. And I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you. So medical support, I started off with just Medicare, and as a retiree, I had what's called TRICARE for life, which is my secondary insurance. That worked fine until my civilian medical center decided to go downhill over many different owners and closed down. Prior to that, I decided, well, I need to talk to the VA. So the Bay Pines Bill Young VA Center in St. Petersburg, 30 minutes away from me, is the second largest vet center in the United States. And I now have about 90% of my care there. I can't say enough about those folks. They do not cut off the wrong leg when you need something amputated. They do just absolutely super work. And they also do leading edge. The Veterans Administration has been known for being at the leading edge of medical care in the world, including working with the first prosthetics for veterans. Of course, congressional funding is always short for the VA, and that's part of the problem. It's part of the problem of the hidden ongoing costs of war that Congress and basically the American people don't want to acknowledge. The war continues through taking care of those veterans. So that's the hidden cost. In a nutshell, that's some of where I've been and what I've done. And I am at this point very pleased at how I'm being taken care of as an 80% disabled vet. And if you have a quick question, I could try to answer.
Thanks for your service, Will, as always.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you for your service, Will and Michael. Your story are really amazing. I could spend, countless hours just, listening to your stories. So,
Well, I've got lots of other strange sea stories, including
Yes.
seeing an underwater, an unidentified submerged object while I was in Vietnam. So that's a whole nother story.
But remember, if Will tells us, he has to kill us all.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd be dead already, so.
That's right.
Yeah, she knows more than she ought to.
That's amazing. Thanks a lot, everyone. I think it's really perfect timing. So you made it all. We are done on time. So what I would like to suggest is to close the meeting with a 4-way test.
All right. Is it the
To
truth?
the truth.
Is it
Is
fair?
it fair
for
to
all
all concerned?
concerned.
Will it
Will
build
it bring
goodwill,
goodwill,
better friendships?
friendships?
Will it be
Beneficial
beneficial?
to all concerned.
And is it fun?
And is it
Yes.
fun?
And is it fun?
And will we get caught?
Oh,
I like that. That's good.
I like that one.
Right.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. It was really great meeting you all tonight. So we will regroup next month. It's gonna be next month. It's gonna be the first Tuesday. We had to move the date because of the election. And enjoy the rest of your evening. And for the board member, we take a 5-minute break, and then we can regroup in 5 minutes.
And remember, next month is December's our annual meeting, our annual club meeting. So we usually don't have a speaker, but we like to bring certain anecdotes and recipes and kind of have fun. So yeah, news will go out.
We'll send the
Anecdotes
communication. Thank you.
Anecdotes and dozy dotes and little lambs.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Margie. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Will.
We
Okay.
look forward to your Christmas cakes.
Paul will be talking to you.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna have more time to give the opportunity to David to introduce himself. So we were running a little bit out of time. So next month, David, you will be on the spot.
No,
Hey, here we go.
no problem.
All right.
Yeah, glad you're with us, Dave.
Hi, y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Margie.